Welcome to Peer2Peer, the podcast, brought to you by Rayner. Listen in as we hear from top surgeons having great conversations with their peers about hot and popular topics in ophthalmology. In this second episode of the Digital Ophthalmic Society takeover of Peer2Peer, the podcast, Dr. Eric Rosenberg, co-founder of the Digital Ophthalmic Society, hosts Dr. Roger Zaldivar, CEO of the Zaldivar Institute in Mendoza, Argentina, to discuss how surgeons can embrace technology to enhance their practices and stay relevant in a changing industry. Let's dive in.
All right. Welcome to Peer2Peer, the podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about embracing technology to enhance your practice. And it is my sincere privilege and honor to have Roger Zaldivar, a really amazing person to have on here. I'm pretty sure if we go back far enough in his lineage, his line is responsible for inventing ophthalmology. And, Roger has been such an instrumental player in technology and telemedicine, telehealth, optics. He sits on several boards of several organizations, as well as, executive positions in developing companies that are really going to revolutionize what ophthalmology does. So it's really a pleasure to have you here today, Roger.
Well, it's my real pleasure to spend time with you, and I really look forward to this interesting conversation with you.
I live in the footsteps of you guys and just the amazing things you've accomplished and continue to do in ophthalmology. And it's a really great synergy. And I think I've said this before, where it's one of those few fields that exists where everybody really works together to enhance the basic platform that exists for ophthalmology. And, as we're going down this path, it's evolving, it's changing, right? And we're all kind of working together to make it better. Do you find that ophthalmologists are embracing these digital changes as we're seeing it? And why or why not?
Yes, I think that, first of all, ophthalmology is very special because I think that it has that nice synergy between the industry, the ophthalmologists, and of course other fields that at some point we're all pushing together towards this revolution to have better result for patients. That's for sure. It has been quite dramatic in the last couple of years, all the new advances in technology, new IOLs, new phaco, new femtos. We are seeing an aggressive innovation through there. And finally, I'm seeing some reaction that we are getting to a point where we do not have that important innovation in the different technologies that we are using. And the revolution, I'm not sure if you agree with me, is going to come from data. How we can create better data, how we can exploit it, how we can process it, standardize it, and help us take better decisions. And when I say this, of course, I'm thinking in this very nice solution created by Rayner that is Ray Pro, that is helping us to understand what our patients are feeling. I'm really looking forward to this discussion.
I love your word revolution. That is my favorite word as it relates to big data and the analysis of big data. I wholeheartedly agree with you that it's going to be these data sets and metadata sets and clean data that we need to be able to implement and standardize data sets and metadata sets in order to be able to process it going forward. When it comes to the analysis of the data, I think, in my personal opinion, I think that's where the value is. And it's been kind of a struggle to have, industry partners see that, where it's not necessarily the data. They like certain partners, right? They like to keep the data internalized and siloed. Like, this is my data, this is your data. I don't think that's the right approach, because in the data sets alone, there's no value. It's in the processing and the algorithms and the leveraging of that data that's important. So yeah.
And the conjunction and how the different data get together and mean something. If you have, let's put a clear example to explain it in simple words. If you have, for example, guys from Oculus, from Pentacam, just getting their own data and get it alone and don't sharing with anyone. What's the meaning of having tons and thousands of topography if you don't, with that metadata, if you cannot take them to real clinical results? You must understand what were the performance of that patient, how was the patient seeing, what was the contrast sensitivity, what was the behavior, the night vision, the halos, the glare, the near performance. So everything has to get together to understand if exactly is what we imagine it was going to be. So I fully agree with you. Solutions in data has to be agnostic. Agnostic is the word. You cannot pretend that you're going to remain with your data and die with your data, because you will die with nothing. Just numbers. We need to turn those numbers into information. And that's the challenge here.
I love that. And, there's an inherent value in the mosaicism of the data sets too. And a lot of people may or may not appreciate that, right? So let's just say you're talking about topography of many different companies and many different data sets. They are never going to be the same. And in there, actually, that sigma value, the differences that exist between them, may actually hold some important value to have, which is also why it's important to share it, just because within the mosaicism of the data, it actually diversifies it and actually offers a very unique fingerprint to certain individuals and certain characteristics that we weren't able to process before, right? And we're going to be able to derive value from those particular things. So it's really nice to hear that several of us within this industry, within the digital sciences, we believe that the data should be 100% agnostic. It should be shared with everybody. I guess that brings me to my next question. How do you propose to ophthalmologists who may not be going down this track already? What should there be their first step in being a little bit more digitally forward? Do you think it's the standardization of their own protocols, look within and then look outward? Or do you think that they should attend classes or courses, or what do you see?
Yeah, and that's a great question, because I'm still seeing some colleagues that are extremely good doing what they do, great surgeons, very recognized. I'm not going to name them, but you cannot imagine the guys that I'm saying that they are still working with paper. So they're still using these paper electronic medical records. So if you think in the amount of work that takes to take all those medical records into something, into data, it's a double data entry. They have to go one page by one, to the data. It's a lot of hours and hours. And the point is, they always say the same. I haven't found something that I feel comfortable and like I feel agile enough, quick enough, and with the interface that I feel really that I can fly in my examining room without being stopped, and I can anticipate. So there's so many things that can speed up your work, organize your workflows, understand your bottlenecks, understand where you can improve, which equipment you have to buy. All those kind of things have to be in the value proposition for these guys to understand that if they don't do it, they're going to disappear, because they're going to be performing so worse, so really underperforming compared to someone using all these tools, that they are not going to be able to compete and to give the required results that patients today demand. Patients are pushing, they understand everything, and we have to nail it. There's no other way than nailing it.
I couldn't agree more with that. And it's interesting though too. I think we are our biggest problem and our biggest advocate at the same time. How we unrolled and unveiled EMR and EHRs. One could argue it wasn't in the best way, right? It wasn't in the best light, at least in the US. There was pretty much here's $68 billion, go, where, so what are companies to do, right? Companies are to see what you're doing and then do a one-to-one carbon copy of the product that existed prior and the product that they're asking you to convert to now, because the EHR companies don't know from more, right? They don't know from better. What has traditionally happened with ophthalmology and the advancement of technology is that it was incorporated in an intelligent manner based on the niche and the need of the product and of the surgeon. This was a unique time point in history where it was not due to either of those things. It was it was just said by the government because they saw the bigger picture on the wall, right? Maybe all of us did not, that we needed to start adopting these technologies in order to better. With that said, though, I 100% agree. It's important that we appreciate the past, I think, and then push on the future for the development. And now, for those people who are not adopting the technologies that exist in ophthalmology, I say it's like, jumping to an airport and flying the jumbo jet before learning the little Cessna airplane. You need to get the principles, the dynamics down, the solid foundational elements before you're able to grow with it.
Elder people today are all using WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and they do it very natural. Why wouldn't they be comfortable with an EMR? They would. And more, but it's all a matter of getting used to it, being exposed, don't have the pressure that if they have patients waiting for them. So do a soft transition between paper and a very nice, simple solution. And then one thing that I wanted to highlight is value-based medicine. You know how important value-based medicine is going to be in the future. Governments are struggling with how medicine in general is becoming more and more expensive all over the world, and US, that is perhaps the example on this. So there will be a need to demonstrate who are the ones that are doing quality medicine versus the ones that are doing quantitative medicine with poorer results, that at the end it's more expensive because you have more complications, you have to do a vitrectomy, you have to do this, more another lens extra, so at the end it's more expensive. So if you can demonstrate those numbers in a very organized way, and something you will pay less, even insurance, you will pay, you will be paid more by Medicare, Medicaid. So, but we need to have that in a very easy way to demonstrate. That's why EMRs have to be tailor-made for ophthalmology, for refractive surgery, for glaucoma. We have to build those solutions in a tailor-made way. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. I love the tailor-made way, and it's actually a really good segment into what I was going to ask next. A lot of it, there's now synchronous and asynchronous methods and medicine that we can practice and perform. And there's still a lot of art to what it is that we perform, and getting patients to understand what it is that we're saying. It goes beyond just the medical terminology. There's some fundamentals in understanding sometimes that there's these disconnects with patients. I love the idea of asynchronous medicine. It makes me really happy to think about, because there's things that people can do on their own, independent of being in front of you in the clinic, where we can better their lives. And something tells me that SimVisc Gecko is going to be one of those things. So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I love asynchronous medicine. I love it. And I was one of the ones that really pushed telemedicine. As you said, many, many years ago, we started with telemedicine. My father started with telemedicine in 2001. So many, many years ago. And we relaunched it in a very sophisticated way in a project with Cisco in 2012, and I was seeing all my patients through telemedicine. 100%. I jumped in 2012, not with the pandemic. So this was 100% of my patients were diagnosed and assessed by telemedicine. So I realized I was doing synchronous telemedicine, and I was spending a lot of time, the challenges of bottlenecks and stuff. So after doing many, many hundreds and thousands and spending time with other colleagues from US, and here Lance Kugler, my good friend, gave me this idea. He said, Roger, why don't you separate your examination as they do everything versus the rest of the studies and stuff, and then you explain the rest at home. And it was a game changer. So patients get into the examining room, they get all their exams done in terms of slit lamp and everything, and then we discuss with the patient in another day, in an appointment with 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. But it flows so much faster and so much more natural. Their patients are in a very comfortable place. and everything is so much better that I take this exactly what you say. So there are now solutions like these simulators that you can check which IOL would you prefer for your life, like Simgis Gecko, that I'm working a lot with them to create an experience. And what they are doing is very interesting because they realize that if they give the solution to a patient and the patient wants to understand from every single IOL, it's what you call the name is the Schwarber's paradox. Many choices, many choices. You don't decide on anything. So they understood that they had to create a journey for the patients. So let's first think on a monofocal IOL, have the near vision, understand how poor is your near vision, jump through a trifocal IOL with the near vision first, realize how good the near vision is, then jump to the far vision, see if you are okay, and then have the contrast between a far vision from a trifocal and an EDOF, and then jump back to an EDOF. So you have a journey. You experience most of the technologies, and then you will have a flavor. Of course, this is an approximation. It's just to give a sense of what the patient might feel. But I think it's nice. It's good to try to put all this technology in the patient experience, in the modern practice. The challenge here is how we incorporate this in the regular patient. But I guess it's in a synchronous way. That's for sure.
I love it, and it's leveraging the technology not just for us but for our patients too. Some of the disconnect, we sometimes take it personally when we can't communicate those things to the patients. At least I do. When I can't get them to understand what I'm saying, your near is going to be bad, your far is going to be good. Sometimes those words, as simple as they are still really hard for patients to understand. And it's not just about us understanding the data sets, glaucoma, retinal detachment risk, all these other things that we worry about innately, but it's even the fundamentals that can change for our patients, and eliciting technology to better off their situation. They're coming to you, asking for help, and this is just another tool that's going to be able to give it to them. I have a question for you. What are you most excited about in terms of technology right now for practices? What do you think is going to be the next biggest thing coming out for tech and opto?
So I'm a little bit biased here because I have my own project, and I really think that we are going to start flying very aggressively in the next couple of months, because I'm seeing the reaction of my clients and even myself, and I'm now harvesting the real value of what we are creating. So basically what we are doing is we are creating a whole ecosystem of solutions. Everything is interface, but everything is hanging from a very nice revolutionary EMR. So we do have an EMR, our own EMR, but the EMR is the pillar to create the data, to really create the very smooth and organized data, to create all the other solutions. And I'm delighted to have in one of those solutions, for example, I have an ICL calculator for sizing, which is performing better than any other algorithm in the world today. So we are putting everything together in the personalized way, and we are able to create solutions for the community. And other solution that we have there, and I love it, and perhaps it's a good opportunity to mention it, of course, is Ray Pro. I'm delighted with Ray Pro because really for the first time I'm able to see with a click, in a very quick way, exactly what my patients are feeling, and again in a depersonalized way, because I cannot track one by one, but I see, of course, all the trends, which are the IOLs that are performing better, which is the improvement after I do YAG them, which is more sensitive than other ones, when you have opacification, where you have a better performance at night, which is performing better in the intermediate vision. All those questions that we kind of all the time infer, we think that this is performing better. Now you say, oh, wow, I have 800 lenses here, and these are the results. I'm impressed. I thought this lens was better than this one, but this is performing much better. My patients are really happier. So one thing is we kind of say numbers talk, but reality is that numbers talk, but patients are the one that have the mouth. So if you at the end have perfect numbers, but your patients are not that happy, for me, it's not enough. You do have to have an alignment between what the numbers say. If the numbers are 20/20 and the patient is not happy, for me, it's not enough. Something is there. But if you have full alignment, you are done. And this is what we are getting with Brave Pro there.
I absolutely love that. And for those listening in, this is the epitome of a layered approach, right? And what Roger's saying is that EMR and EHR, which has been our interface mechanism, is no longer going to be that. It's going to be a back-end system where we will have layers on top of layers that will be able to interface with us for more adaptable, more dynamic, experiences, not just for us, but for our patients. And you're 100% right. We don't treat numbers, we treat people at the end of the day. And understanding from the front end will only yield understanding from the back end. And these systems, like Roger's pointing out, this is the revolution. It's the next layer on the onion. It's the next level to the system where it's going to give us useful data and be able to help us. Who I think it was Yannick or Ted Lang, who renamed AI in my mind. It used to be artificial intelligence. I like the word augmented intelligence. Yeah, and it helps us because there's never going to be that. Just like you said, there's never going to be a system that's going to replace us because it can't. There's something intangible about the experience that people go through, and in understanding that, you have to understand what we need the technology to do for us, not instead of us, right? So
augmented intelligence, that I love it, for sure is going to change our practices, and it's already doing it in very specific topics,
mm-hmm.
But in our basic practices, just understanding what we do is the biggest revolution that we can see, because we're going to recognize that many things that we think that are great are not that good. But just
mm-hmm.
by putting them all together in a very nice and organized way, will be an eye-opener that will make us improve what we do. And this is basically what we're doing today. Today, we do have everything integrated in BI, but we are working in our pipeline in different solutions based in AI. But this is I think where we have to target.
Absolutely. So I guess we can end the podcast on one more question, and I think you kind of answered it a little bit. What do you think the future innovations look like in ophthalmology? We both of us know how far behind we are from business innovations. It's wild just to even think about. But so, what do you see our future next steps looking like as it relates to others who have almost paved the way a little bit for us, right? So they've already done some stuff. What do you think we're going to adopt? What do you think the future of ophthalmology is going to be?
I think the innovation, the near-term innovation, it doesn't have to be 10 years. I'm speaking about the next 2 or 3 years. And if not, it's because we have all failed. I think that the technology that we have today is great. What we are missing is the fit. We will be able to fit better, to understand these characteristics. Your characteristics are perfect for this technology. That fit will come from all the data analysis that we will have to collect and recognize and understand, and they will tell me, with your tear film, with your anterior chamber depth, with your this, with your that, you have to do this, and that. So the matching the very analyzed information and digested information and process and with AI and everything, we will take better decisions in the right person. I think that is going to be the kind of the short-term revolution that we'll see. It's not a magical IOL that will change their power in different. No, it's being able to be more accurate in every single decision.
Absolutely. And as you're talking, what I hear in my head? I hear it was a college calculus 3 professor telling us about integrals, right? You have it depends on your number of blocks that you put underneath a curve that gives you the preciseness of the trend that you're going to see. But as you improve your N, as you improve those physical rectangular blocks underneath the curve, you're getting closer and closer to the normal for each patient group. And then we come to a point where N approaches infinity, and you're actually giving personalized care because it's existing in an infinite amount of solutions to be able to treat our patients with literally infinite solutions, right? Personalized care of the medicine. I don't know if that's the best analogy for it, but it's just where my head goes when you talk about it. Roger, thank you for coming here and doing our peer-to-peer podcast today. It was an absolute pleasure. I can't wait to catch that coffee with you at AO or ASCRS or ESCRS at the next meeting.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure. I really look forward to spend more time with you, my friend.
Thank you for joining us for this DOS takeover of Peer2Peer, the podcast. If you haven't subscribed already, please take a minute and click subscribe before you head off. That way you'll know when the next episode arrives. For more information about this episode's topic and to read the show notes, visit the Peer2Peer hub at rainer.com/peer-to-peer. This podcast is provided for general information purposes only. The presenters' views are their own. Rainer does not endorse off-label use. Users must refer to the product labelling and instructions for use for Rainer products in all cases. Not all Rainer products are available in all countries. The full disclaimer can be found in the show notes.